we're on our way into town. Well, now we're on our way back from getting our groceries. And I just thought, while I had some driving time, that I would do a video. I'm not driving. That's my husband. He's driving. So my last video, I talked about we found EMDR. And so this, I just kind of wanted to give a brief summary of what EMDR is, and so that way if anybody has any questions about it or just wants to know more, that they can go off of that or look on their own or ask me, and I'd be happy to respond to that. So kind of how it was explained to me and how I understand it is what I'll try my best to describe. So EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. So it's a technique where they get you. So okay, let me start from the beginning. They started it as a rehabilitation. It's a treatment for PTSD, and they started it as a rehabilitation for people coming back from the war, people that had seen horrible, horrific things in their life. And so they figured that these were the only types of people that needed this kind of treatment, because everybody else with PTSD, it wasn't as severe in them. But as they studied more, and as we've all learned more about what PTSD is, it doesn't matter so much what the traumatic experience was. It has the same chemical effect in our body. And so somebody that can watch something horrible and horrific has the same chemical response as somebody that may just felt uncomfortable in a situation, and for some reason that traumatized them for whatever the situation was for them. So with that said, they have slowly started more and more teaching therapists this technique. What it is it focuses on your eye movement, or I don't remember what they called. We didn't use it much when I've done the EMDR. It's like a electrolyte or electricity little rods that you hold in each hand. But most of the time we just did an eye movement back and forth. And it's not a hypnosis, it's just an ability to calm you down and focus. So the idea behind it is the swaying movement back and forth is a very calming and reassuring mechanism in the human body. If you're nervous, sometimes you hold yourself and rock. When your baby's crying, you rock them back and forth. It's just built into the human genetics, or I don't know what you call it, but it's built into human to want to self-soothe, to rock. And so that was kind of the theory between the back and forth eye movement. The other thing was they wanted you to have self-soothe, and they wanted you to have concentration, concentrating on something that you have to do that's self-soothing, so that when you bring up the traumatic experience, it's not so overwhelming. It actually really did help me. It made it so that I could talk about things that happened from my past and not be reliving that event as if it was happening again. It made it more of a, okay, I have to keep my eye on your fingers, and I'm concentrating on that. And I didn't feel so vulnerable because most of my concentration was keeping my eyes on this movement. And so that's a really rough draft of what it is. And then they kind of have you focus on a memory or a feeling, whatever it is you're trying to work through, and slowly just let your own brain kind of process the information. And as you have a self-soothing movement, concentration on that, as you talk about your feelings of the situation, then you're more able to confront them, and your brain doesn't freak out, and that stops the loop that it's taught itself to make. For example, when we're kids, we all have the desire to, or not desire, the mechanism to make connections, to figure out the world around us and make it so that everything makes sense. So as you go to your parents and they tell you, yes, I can help you, then you know that, okay, that's a place I can go for help. If they're never available, then you learn, okay, that is not a source for help. Just little things like that. Or if you go, if you stub your toe on something, then you know not to do that again. Just any little thing in your life. We're constantly learning these lessons. But how post-traumatic stress is developed in a human being is, it is a situation happens where you don't know what your safe zone or how to expect or how to function within that, and those questions or tools to confront that situation are never given to you or taught to you in a way that it just, your brain is trying to place it. Was this a bad experience? Was it a good experience? Should you do it again? Should you not? It's trying to know where to place it, and since it can't, since you have no idea if it was you that messed up, if it was the person that messed up, if this is normal, it just keeps replaying it over and over and over and over. And our brains are built to, after you experience something, to be able to forget it, and then once you need to be able to pull it back up and think about it and then put it away again. And so that's how I've come to understand what PTSD is and how that affects living, because then if that's playing over and over in your mind, then everything you do connects to this replay that's going on in your mind, and so then the PTSD just connects to everything in your life. So if you want more on that, I'll try to make that more clear. Anyways, that's kind of my understanding of what EMDR focuses on and helps with. So there you go.